the untold destruction that set the ancient Ethiopian city of Debre Tabor back years. Since July 2023, when clashes erupted between government forces and Fano militants in the Amhara region, unprecedented destruction of government institutions has reached Debre Tabor city. Various reports have indicated the destruction of property, including the killing of innocent people in the region over the years. However, since the conflict erupted, there's been widespread destruction in cities, and the destruction of facilities in Debre Tabor is the first such incident. According to information gathered by the BBC, around 20 institutions and vehicles, from Kabyle administration offices to zone directors, were destroyed in the clashes that lasted from 12 o'clock noon to 10 p.m. in the city on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Residents said that heavy fighting has been taking place between Fano militants and government forces since late January in the South Gondar zone, about 100 kilometers from Bahir, the capital of the Amhara region. Fano forces, for their part, announced that they had carried out strong attacks in the area and liberated districts from government forces and taken control. In this regard, Fano militants launched an attack on the morning of February 4th, 2026, to take control of Debre Tabor, the capital of the South Gondar zone, residents told the BBC at the time. Although there is no official figure yet regarding the casualties suffered by either side in the attacks launched by the militants since dawn that day, information gathered by the BBC from various sources shows that extensive material damage was caused to institutions in the city. Many residents said that due to the fear of militant activity around the city and the fact that the fighting broke out in the morning, most of the city's community was confined to their homes. The city's mayor, Debre Tabor, described the clash between the two sides on Wednesday as a big fight and said the fighting was between Fano and local security forces. A Debre Tabor resident said he went out onto the street and watched black smoke swell into the sky after seeing images on social media. They recalled the situation when they saw the smoke, saying, "We were shocked. Everyone was shocked. We didn't feel good." Another resident said that facilities on the outskirts of the city had been burning all day. Another resident told the BBC that he saw 5 government buildings, including 2 police stations, completely reduced to ashes. The BBC has learned from other residents and the city administration that 4 government-run institutions, including ambulances, vehicles, machinery, and office equipment, including documents, were among the victims of the fire. Witnesses said that 6 offices, including the health department, which houses a medicine warehouse for the districts of South Gondar Zone and the Zone Land, Civil Service, and police departments built during the Italian occupation, were burned down. Sources said that 6 offices of the Debre Tabor City Administration, located in a compound called the Old Mayor's Office, and 2 administrative offices, including the Debre Sub-City Police Station, were burned down. Debre Tabor is the headquarters of Fano, which encompasses the surrounding Kabyles. The BBC has learned that a total of 4 institutions and several vehicles, including the police station and revenue office, were destroyed. Residents reported that individual homes in the surrounding area of the district were also burned down. The city's mayor, Debre Tabor, told the BBC that 4 individual homes were burned down. A resident, who did not want to be identified, said the residence of a government official and a guest house called Zone Leader's Shelter were also burned down. Debre Tabor City Mayor Debre called the disaster tragic and unexpected. It's been severely damaged. These are places where the community gets services, finance, police, militia. The community doesn't feel good because it's the community's documents that have been lost, burned. There's a sense of unrest, one resident said of the destruction. Another resident described the destruction as tragic and shameful, and said that if heavy equipment had been used, the damage would have been worse. Another resident recalled that the community has a regret that Debre Tabor has not developed in line with the city's antiquity and history, adding that the destruction caused by this has left a negative impression. Another resident supported this idea, asking, "We have observed that the city has gone back 10 to 15 years from where it is now. Which government will rebuild it from now on? Will it bring the city back to where it was?" Another resident, who said he had seen the destruction of the facilities, said the destruction was deliberate arson. Both warring parties are blaming each other for the destruction of Debre Tabor. The BBC was unable to independently verify whether the arson was intentional or by whom. Several residents the BBC spoke to since the conflict began said they had estimated there had been 8 to 10 drone strikes. 2 residents said the drone attacks were carried out in the countryside, not in the city, and the city's mayor also indicated that the attacks did not take place in the city. The mayor of Debre Tabor told the BBC that an investigation is underway to determine the extent of the damage to the city's service facilities and the amount of money needed for reconstruction. Residents said that damaged facilities are being cleaned up a week after the devastation. Debre Tabor was plunged into a sense of shock and sadness, said one resident. People's movement and transportation were halted. People were in a state of shock and uncertainty. Now, there's a sense of stability of going back to work.